Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we're going to talk about Matthew Mercer. We're going to talk about the groundbreaking product, Taldorei Reborn, which has accomplished something that no other product in the world has accomplished, and that is becoming third-party, air quotes, I'm putting those air quotes there, third-party content that has officially become D&D canon. All right, so on D&D Beyond, in the character builder, that's pretty incredible, right? So basically, Taldorei Reborn is now being sold on D&D Beyond, and you can purchase it as a product, and when you buy it, you get Taldorei Reborn, this third-party published book, right? Darlington Press created this. And Darlington Press is this cute little company that, puts out Critical Role's tabletop role-playing game material, okay? But what is that, right? And so I'm going to share with you today what I think that is, right? So Taldorei Reborn, in my humble opinion, that is absolutely a misnomer to say that it's third-party content on D&D Beyond. And the reason why is, what is Taldorei Reborn? Well, I can tell you, it's literally the Scrapplings of Explorer's Guide to Wildemount, right? So basically, Explorer's Guide to Wildemount is a D&D canon hardback. The D&D canon hardback is the preeminent standard of quality in the entire tabletop role-playing game industry, which in the industry of Dungeons and Dragons content, I hate even saying the word tabletop role-playing game industry because I don't think it's real. I think the Dungeons and Dragons industry is real, but I think the OSR and the indie tabletop role-playing games that are sold are so far behind that I would be very hesitant to tell anyone to pursue work in that area, because I'm not sure you can make a career out of it. And there are a lot of people, like, I think the Zweihander guy, the guy who creates Zweihander, that book is on the shelves at Barnes & Noble, right? And he was saying the other day, he was talking about his regular day gig, right? Like that Zweihander is like a side project for him. I'm not sure anyone is really able to consistently support themselves and a family on what it takes to, as if you're publishing an OSR or an indie game. It's bad. It is very bad out there, and it's extremely difficult for any companies to make any real money, right, in the OSR and the indie space. But Dungeons & Dragons is real. It's they make some fraction, maybe it's a quarter, maybe it's a third, maybe it's $500 million a year, but it's some fraction of $1 billion, right? It's hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And the and that's just what it's making on the Hasbro side, right? The reality is, it's such an expansive intellectual property, right? So the reality is, Taldorei Reborn, in my opinion, was never really even a real book. It was refried beans, right? It was here's all the parts I couldn't jam into Explorer's Guide to Wildemount, and I'll sell it to you as an additional product, right? And so the reality is, it's just literally the Scrapplings left from a D&D canon hardback, right? So the idea that calling it a third-party product isn't really real, right? Because Matthew Mercer is not third-party to Dungeons & Dragons. He literally is a D&D canon author, right? Explorer's Guide to Wildemount, Call to the Netherdeep, right? Those are D&D canon. That's as in the weeds, that's as official as you get, right? Being a D&D canon. In fact, he's done more work and is deeper into the D&D, milieu than most designers, right? Teos Abadia and Sean Merwin. I love those guys. They have a fantastic podcast. It's called Mastering Dungeons. Actually, you can see it right here on YouTube. You should check it out here on YouTube. They actually video it. And they just cut out the audio to make a podcast. That's a whole other discussion. But so basically, that's where they're at, right? So it is truly fascinating where all this lands, and the reality is, so my take is, it is really a misnomer. It is not true, in my humble opinion, to say that Taldorei Reborn is third-party content, because the reality is it was written by a D&D canon author, right? And the material is literally dovetailing with something that was. So I really think what you're getting is you're getting content capture from the original source, right? Taldorei Reborn is landing where it belongs. Now this gets really complicated though, because this is going to give people hope, right? This is going to tell people, hey, you can get D&D third-party content in to Dungeons and Dragons as pure canon. That is as an OSR or an indie designer, right? That's the Hollywood, like I'm a huge Hollywood fan, and like one of the things is a movie will make a ton of money, right? Like Barbie, right? And people are like, oh my gosh, Hollywood is going to take all the wrong lessons from this, right? And that is my concern, is I think Taldorei Reborn was never third-party content. It's literally just the scrapplings from a D&D canon hardback book. And it finding its way to D&D Beyond is not third-party content showing up on D&D Beyond. It's literally canon D&D canon content that got put in the wrong place to begin with and put under the wrong label, right? And so and I will say this, I think, now why did Critical Role put this there? Well, the reality is, I think 2023 was the put up or shut up year, right? Like everybody was like, oh, Dungeons and Dragons, you don't do a good job with the creating good tabletop role playing games. We'll do better. And then they plop out Tales from the Valiant, and everybody's like, that isn't even as good as Kelsey Dion's OSR game over there. You want to pretend that you're in competition with Dungeons and Dragons? This is pathetic. You didn't even beat an OSR. You didn't even beat an OSR highlight game, right? So you were outdone by an OSR copy clone, right? And this was your best effort to beat Dungeons and Dragons. So the reality is, I really, this Taldorei Reborn, I cannot believe, this is the most active year I have ever seen in Dungeons and Dragons history. I've never seen anything like this. It is truly astounding what is happening, right? Like, I've never seen anything like this. It is truly astounding what we are looking at in 2023. This Taldorei Reborn is a very big deal. We really have never seen a game that was, show up on any game book that didn't have the red ampersand on the side get put onto D&D Beyond. And I think this is going to give people the hope that they can do this. It's possible. It is possible, right? And maybe, right? Maybe what's really happening right now is D&D, Dungeons & Dragons saying, we will take the best. We will take the best, right? If you're in the top 3% of all OSR and indie content, we may scoop you up, right? Which is interesting. It's very, very interesting. So there might be a path for an OSR or indie designer to do what Mercer has done, but Mercer is truly like his own, like he is a purple unicorn, man. There's just nothing on the planet like him. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.